Welcome to the training, How to Submit Vendor Contracts for Review and Signature. Whether you're navigating this process for the first time or simply need a refresher, this session equips you with the essential tools to submit vendor contracts accurately and efficiently. Submitting contracts for review and signature isn't just a formality. It's a critical step that ensures compliance, protects institutional interests, and keeps projects moving forward. In this session, we'll walk through the process step by step, highlight key responsibilities, and share resources to support you along the way. Before we get into the specifics, let's take a moment to outline the key topics we'll be covering in this training session. These are the key elements that guide how we manage, review, and execute agreements with our external partners. We'll start by clarifying who owns what in the contract process. Next, we'll look at typical timelines for contract review and signature. We'll then walk through our signing protocol, including who is authorized to sign. After that, I'll outline the step-by-step process for submitting a contract. Finally, we'll highlight the tools and support available to help you navigate the contract process efficiently. Before we dive into the mechanics of the vendor contract process, let's take a moment to discuss the purpose of this training. Our goal is to equip you with the knowledge and tools needed to correctly submit vendor contracts for institutional review and signature. Why is this important? Because every contract we process impacts our operational efficiency, compliance, and vendor relationships. By understanding your role, following a consistent process, and submitting accurate documentation, you help ensure that contracts move through the system smoothly and meet institutional standards. This training is designed for a broad audience, whether you're providing administrative support, managing departmental budgets, or leading programs that rely on vendor services. If you're involved in any part of the contract lifecycle, this session is for you. Let's take a moment to review the key responsibilities of the department initiating the vendor contract. This step is critical to ensure that the contract not only meets departmental needs, but also aligns with institutional standards and policies. Your key responsibilities include the following. First, read the full contract. The initiating department must carefully review the entire contract. This includes confirming that the scope of work is accurate and reflects what was agreed upon. Second, verify business terms. Ensure that all business terms, such as pricing, deliverables, and timelines, match any verbal agreements and meet the department's operational requirements. Third, manage post-execution. Once the contract is signed, the project lead within the department is responsible for managing the contract. This includes monitoring deliverables, timelines, and vendor performance. And fourth, oversee requirements. The department must also oversee all ongoing contract requirements, such as reporting, renewals, or compliance obligations. Now let's look at the role of the purchasing department in the vendor contract process. While departments initiate contracts based on their needs, purchasing ensures those contracts meet all legal and institutional requirements before they're finalized. Compliance oversight. Purchasing is responsible for ensuring that every contract complies with state and federal laws, state purchasing requirements, and the institution's internal policies and procedures. Key responsibilities include reviewing and communicating terms and conditions, review contract language, and working with vendors to clarify or revise terms as needed. Signature authority. Purchasing either signs the contract directly or secures the appropriate authorized signature. Conflict resolution. If issues arise during the contract period, purchasing helps mediate. Formal terminations. Issue formal termination notice when contract is terminated prior to contract expiration. Now that we've covered the roles and responsibilities, let's talk about timing. Because when it comes to contracts, timing is everything. To ensure your contract is reviewed and signed without delays, it's important to understand our standard processing timeline. We ask that you allow a minimum of 2 weeks for full review and signature. This gives us time to assess the terms, ensure compliance, and coordinate with all necessary parties. Keep in mind that during peak periods, especially late spring and summer, response times may be longer due to higher volume. Planning ahead and submitting early can make a big difference. To help us process your contract efficiently, please make sure your submission is complete, use the designated contracts portal, and avoid last-minute requests. Incomplete or rushed submissions often lead to missed deadlines and project delays. Now that we've covered timelines, let's talk about one of the most important aspects of the contract process. Who is authorized to sign? Only staff who have been formally delegated signatory authority may sign contracts on behalf of the college. This is not just a formality, it's a legal requirement. Signing authority is clearly defined in our signatory authority policy, which you can find on the purchasing webpage. The policy outlines who is authorized and what contract value thresholds apply. If you are not listed as an authorized signatory, do not sign. Unauthorized signing can expose the college to serious legal and financial risks. If you're ever unsure, reach out to purchasing for guidance before proceeding. Now that you understand who can sign and why that matters, let's walk through how to submit a contract. The process is designed to be simple and streamlined, but following each step carefully is key to avoiding delays. We've broken it down into 4 easy steps, starting with checking banner to make sure the vendor is already in our system. From there, you'll use the contracts portal, fill out an intake form, attach the contract, and submit everything with just a click. Each step plays a role in helping us process your contract efficiently and accurately. Now that you know the steps for submitting a contract, let's talk about where to begin. All contract submissions must go through the Purchasing Intranet webpage, which serves as the central hub for initiating the process. Once you're on the page, click the Submit Contracts portal link in the menu. From there, you'll be prompted to select the appropriate contract type, either under $10,000 or $10,000 and over. It's important to choose based on the total contract value, including all years, if it's a multi-year agreement. This helps ensure the contract is routed correctly and reviewed by the appropriate parties. Now that you know where to submit your contract, let's walk through the intake form itself. This is a critical part of the process that helps purchasing review and route your contract efficiently. The form collects key information, starting with the vendor's legal name. If the contract is $10,000 or more, you'll also need to include the banner requisition number. For multi-year agreements, be sure to include the full value across all years. One important section to pay attention to is the student data. If the contract involves sharing student data, select Yes. This triggers an additional document to be included for FERPA compliance to ensure data protection measures are in place. Once you've filled out all required fields and attached the contract document, just click Finish. You'll receive a confirmation email, and your contract will enter the review queue. Before we wrap up, let's make sure you know where to find help when you need it. Submitting a contract correctly is important, but you're not expected to memorize every detail. We've created resources to guide you through the process. On the Purchasing Intranet webpage, you'll find everything from a step-by-step job aid to our contract policy and the signatory authority policy, which outlines who can sign and under what conditions. These tools are designed to promote clarity, consistency, and compliance across all submissions. Whether you're new to the process or just need a quick refresher, these resources are your go-to support. This concludes our training on how to submit vendor contracts for review and signature. We appreciate you taking the time to watch this on-demand training. We hope it provided valuable insights and practical guidance to support your work. If you have any questions or need further assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out to the purchasing department. We're here to help.